Jew such as yourself, who is a good Jew, and I state that quickly, and a decent Jew, and a well-meaning Jew, but a naive Jew. They know that you can, only you, and I don't mean you personally, only people who think as you do, only you can help them eventually win, because they can never beat us in a war. I'm ready to sit down with anybody. I have nothing. I have always said we should sit down with Arafat, always, and tell him no. I think that when Jews say there is a difference between Arafat and Hussein, that's a dangerous statement to make. Because then what they're saying is, well, they see there are bad Arabs and then there are good Arabs. Hussein wants exactly what Arafat wants, except he's cleverer. He learned the lesson. If you say nice things about Jews, then they'll toss money at you, or the Sinai. Compromise? We accepted a compromise in 1947, or don't you know? We gave up 80% of our land, or don't you know? How much do you want to compromise? Until Israel is 1 meter by 1 meter? We've done the compromising. And we lost 6,000 Jews in 1948 after that compromise, which was turned down by them. Compromise. I don't compromise with people who have made it clear to me that the land of Israel is Palestine, all of it, and that today they'll go to 1967, then tomorrow to 1947, and then the next day to 007. Compromise. I'm ready to compromise. Land for peace. I'm a great believer in land for peace. I'll keep the land and give them peace. Farrakhan. Why does it bother you that do you think that everything that he says is wrong? Everything? No.
Wrong? No.
When he speaks about strength, do you think that that is so wrong?
No, not at all.
Not at all, right. So don't think that is wrong if I speak about strength. Farrakhan is a vicious Jew hater, a bad guy, a racist, and the worst. But even the worst says some true things. For decades, for centuries, blacks were treated brutally here. And if the civil rights movement eventually won here, you know why? Because on the one hand, there were the Panthers using violence, and on the other hand, the NAACP ran to President Johnson and said, you see, if we don't get something, they're going to follow the Panthers.
Yeah, sure.
Violence is a terrible thing, but sometimes it's terribly necessary. And that's a very, very sad thing. Don't talk to me about violence. I know what violence is. I've gone to prison for violence. I fought in a war in 1973. I know what violence is. Who wants violence? One has to be crazy to enjoy violence. But one has to be crazier to say, I'll never use violence. You try not to. You try very, very hard not to. And then in the end, if you have to, you kick butt. And that's the Jewish way. Yes?
So one follow-up. So who's the alternative to you? If you don't deal with us, you'll have to deal with Kahane.
I have no idea, but I want to tell you one thing. No one was ever indispensable. Moses died and Joshua popped up. If it's not me, it'll be someone else who is just as clever and normal as I am. Yeah.
All right, first of all,
But louder, please, into the mic.
All right, I just have a statement first and a couple of questions. Earlier you said that you were for peace, and that doesn't seem possible through violence. How can you achieve peace through violence?
That's first question. Okay.
Question.
How can I achieve peace through violence? In World War II, we violently smashed the Nazis, and voila, there was peace. Every war is waged so that someday it will end in peace. Surprise?
But there's always fighting
Next
somewhere. All right. Thanks. All right, and when, all right, you said that you can live side by side with them as long as they're in a different country.
Side by side, right?
Why can't you live side by side with them in one country?
Because they think it's their country. There's not one Arab sitting in this room or standing here that doesn't believe that both sides of the green line are really Arab. It is unbelievable that someone comes up with an asinine statement and the asininites clap for him. Unbelievable. People, I came here thinking that this was a real good campus. Come on, really. Academic rating is plummeting rapidly. Plummeting rapidly, people. Go on. I'm sorry, yeah.
All right, I just have one more question, then I'll...
Go on. 1, 2, I don't care.
All right, when will people like you actually be able to live with people side by side next to them in the same house, not in different countries? Whether they're black, white, Jews, Christians, Muslims, it doesn't matter. What difference does it make?
Sir, in my Kach movement, we have black Jews and we have white Jews and we have all kinds of Jews. So don't give me this here crap about blacks and whites. There is no difference between blacks and whites. Get that clear. I have said it
I know that. That's what I'm trying to say to you.
So I have said it as clearly as I can say it. Period. Ethiopian Jews, I didn't see the Arabs marching for Ethiopian Jews. We did. We did. And they happened to be a little black. A little.
You still didn't
and
answer
not
my
relevant
question.
either.
What difference does it make what
Arabs.
religion you are, what color you are, where you come from?
Go on, talk.
What difference does it make what color you are, what religion you are, or where you come from? You seem to have some big thing about that Arabs should live in an Arab country and Jews should live in Israel.
Yeah.
What difference does it make?
I didn't say that Swedes shouldn't live inside Israel, because Swedes don't claim that Israel is theirs. Arabs don't want to live in Israel. They want to live in Palestine. And they want to take Israel away and call it Palestine. That's why they are not going to live in Israel, which will stay Israel. Can't you grasp that?
I guess not.
Yeah. Well, he did grasp it. Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, I am from Latin America.
I'm sorry, louder, I'm sorry.
Being a Latin American student, I am not Jewish, I am not anti-Semitic, but I am really sick and tired of you Jews killing innocent children, innocent Arab children. And every time somebody say the Jews are killing the innocent children, they call that person anti-Semitic. We are not anti-Semitic, we are not anti-Jewish, but we as a human beings, we want to ask you, please stop killing Arab children. And also, I thank God for Martin Luther King, because he helped us minorities. Okay, don't tell me that the blacks are bad here. For us, they are good.
If you don't want those children killed, tell them to stop throwing firebombs at our soldiers. You don't want them killed? Then elect Rabbi Meir Kahane Prime Minister, and none of them are going to be killed, because then all of them are going to live in Jordan. Where, of course, nobody ever kills Palestinians. Inside Jordan, they never killed Palestinians in Black September 1970. Of course not. No one ever kills Palestinians except Jews. More Palestinians have killed Palestinians than Jews have. Palestinians. Next question.
I have a few questions. I first had a comment. It's interesting. I don't know if it's good to see a lot of people here. I would encourage people who do want to learn more about what's going on to go to some, I shouldn't say more, maybe thoughtful or intelligent dialogues, but differently thoughtful and intelligent, and they're going on all the time around the Twin Cities, and it would be great to see people there and participating.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to read out what has been said. I'm not a rabbi, although I thank God that women can be rabbis now, so I'm not going to quote the Bible, but it seems that to be the one thing that I do remember from my Sunday school is that to be a good Jew, you first have to be a good human being, which I think for most people includes not killing other human beings. I know that sounds kind of simplistic, but it is. And I just wanted to address your point about, again, about living separately. Well, maybe all the Arabs and Palestinians can go live in Jordan. Maybe it would be better if the Jews lived on one side of the world and the Arabs lived on the other. But that's not the way it is. And to tell someone to leave their home and to go somewhere else and then it'll be okay, it's a hard thing. You know, maybe it would be better if my mom and I lived on different sides of the world too, but that's not the way it is. So you deal with what you have in front of you. So I guess I just feel that the only choice, the only non-destructive choice for both Israel and for Palestine, or for Israeli Jews and for Palestinians, is to negotiate, with whether it's over coffee or over cake.
Compassion and mercy for all the Jews killed in 1920. What should we have sat down in 1920 when there wasn't even a Jewish state? Over coffee and cake, over what issue?
I'm talking...
A rhetorical question. In 1929, in one day in Hebron, which they don't call Hebron, they call Al-Khalil. In one day in 1929, they murdered 67 Jewish men, women, and children. What was bothering them in 1929? Clearly the occupied lands of 1967, right? Of course, certainly. Between 1936 and 1938, there was an intifada. 510 Jews died, murdered. What should we have talked about then when there wasn't even a Jewish state? Where have you been? In 1948, we wanted to sit down with them, and we accepted an insane compromise. And they said no and went to war. Sit down with them and compromise. How easy it is for you to live here, or in Great Neck, or in Greater Neck, or in Greatest Neck, wherever you happen to live, and tell me, let's try and compromise again. Again, I've had it. I've had it. The compromise is that we will be prepared to allow them to live in Jordan, which is really ours. That's a big, big compromise on my part. And hopefully we'll live in peace. Your next point was, the only and I'm quoting you, the only non-destructive choice is to sit with them. The only non-destructive choice. You think that there's one Arab here who would ever give up Jerusalem? Half of it? A quarter of it? What are you going to compromise about? Do you know what they believe? They sincerely believe the country belongs to them. They sincerely believe that. You see that? He helps me. God bless him. Allah. God. And you're sitting and talking because you don't believe the whole land belongs to the Jewish people. That is the difference between an Arab and a Jew, such as yourself. They really believe the country's theirs, and they can wait 1,000 years for it. And you sit and tell me, who doesn't live in St. Paul or in Great Neck, sit down with them and talk it over with them. I'll sit down with them, but I'll tell them no. I'll sit down with them and work out how we'll help the PLO overthrow Hussein inside Jordan. I'll sit down with them on that. But having started 4 wars with us, with all the Jews that died because of the wars that they began, there is never again going to be land of ours given up to the Arabs. And know that. Yes.
Hi, my name is Matt Haim Cutler, and I'm a member of the Minnesota Israel Public Affairs Committee. You'll see our name is one of the ones on the sheet. And we are very much in support of an Israel that is strong, and a strong connection between the U.S. and Israel Israel, which is a Western-style democracy, and we see no problem with that as a state. And I'd just like to say that I see I think that the reason the nations of the world that do support Israel, and the reason we support Israel, is because of their strong civil rights record. Name another nation where you have 3,000 people throwing rocks at you and only 21 people are killed, compared with the other nations of the Middle East, where Syria paves over the towns where something like that happens. And that's why we support the nation of Israel.